among the many other sides. So it's the Zambian side that get us underway here. Shooting from the right to the left on your screen. And I'm your match commentator, Matimba Konje. Alongside me is Mukamba Mwenda Jr. Together we welcome you to this broadcast on the World of Champions. It is Group K action. And certainly one game that both sides want to get maximum points. So we're in for an exciting game, a record Muka this afternoon.
It's a do-or-die game for both teams. I mean, yesterday, both Namibia and Guinea-Bissau doing these two teams a favor. So they're going into this one, they need to pick up maximum points, knowing full well that they've been given a little bit of a chance. I mean, the door has been left ajar with that draw.
Kelembe now for the Mozambican side, controlling very well in the middle of the park. Looks like it's going to be one game that, especially in the first 30 minutes or so, where they will be so much in terms of retaining possession from either side and trying to probably study the opponent. But Zambia now on the attack with Lubambo Musonda. Hoping to bring across, but delays it. Ratifo right behind him, not giving him space. Difficult ball for the Orlando Pirates man in Justin Shonga, who's the current top scorer in this Group K action in terms of the qualification for the Cup of Nations. Now Zambia on the attack. Opportunity, interchangeable passes in the box cleared by Edmilson Dove. So positive start by the Zambians. Yet again they come second time. Emmanuel Banda, former Zambia under-20. Chance now for the Zambians, going straight into the human traffic of Mozambique, and so it will be a goal kick.
Well, Zambia looking to just unsettle this Mozambique side playing at home. Banda coming in and looking for that quick run into the pocket every time they have space on the ball. It's Lionel who will be looking to kick it long. Mozambique needs to settle because the Zambians have got a clear intent of trying to nick in a goal to just leave them in 6s and 7s.
Now they start with the short one at the back. Edmilson Dove to goalkeeper Lanel Pendula. One of the changes in the last two games that coach Abel Javier has made, because relegating the experienced Burigo to the south bench. Strong head at the back by Kabaso Chongo, the Tupuisa Mazembe defender. Now Mozambique on the attack. This looks promising for them. A cross comes through and wasted chance. Now the earlier movement was for Mozambique in terms of them, but wasted opportunity in terms of the cross not coming through. Chungu for the Zambians. It's a very tense match. Navy moments we should expect this afternoon, especially that it's a game where both sides need nothing less than a win going into the final round of qualification round. Ratifo back to Edmilson Dove. Mozambique building up slowly. The Zambians chasing every ball and every opportunity possible to get something from here. Under pressure.
A lot of intent from the Zambians. You can clearly see they're looking to cut the supply lines from this Mozambique outfit, looking to cover play. Would they maintain this momentum throughout the match will be the big question. Silimba coming in with a lot of fresh legs. The Zesco player there, just a bit of an infringement, judged to have pushed his marker in that instance. A lot of runs as well from the middle as Mwepu looks to just not allow play from the back from Mozambique. Mozambique unsettled. I mean, for a team that's playing at home, they're really not sticking to their game plan. It's Zambia who are asking all the questions and making the runs. Can they do it for 90 minutes though? That would be the big question.
Thrown by Zambia with Simon Silvimba. But again, possession given away rather cheaply in the middle of the park now. Mozambique looking for options on their right. Interchange is good. He looked like they would want to exploit the left back position where Lawrence Chungu is operating from, and that has been one of the problems that the Zambian side has faced in the recent past. We've seen a lot of chopping and changing in that left back position. The likes of Faxon Kapungu once in a while coming in, and that's a more reason why the likes of Prosper Chiluya being included in the Zambian squad. There seems to be one position that the Zambians are having problems in terms of clearly having somebody to fill up that position.
It's been a problem for a while now, I think, for the best part of a decade or so, because we don't have a natural player in that position. They're always makeshift. But in modern football, we've come to learn that...
Now, Pelembe. I thought I'd had it well covered, but the pressure from the Mozambique captain, Elias Pelembe. So it's a corner now. Not having so much coordination there. They should wide this man, Sven Vanderbroek. But it's a fast-paced game, I'll tell you, Muko. It's 5 minutes played. Pelembe now with the corner. The first one for the Mozambicans in this first stanza. We've got about 3 players in the box. Of course, more green shirts, representation of the Chipolopolo coming back to defend. Corner now. Pelembe swings in one. Chance now, and the Zambians for now just do a bit of defensive work by way of just taking it out. Now they can build from the back with Luba Momsonda. And of course, foul committed by Mandava. Zambia with Mwepu. Stopped in the tracks nicely by Dove. But again, it's a situation of possession being lost rather cheaply from either side. Good play by the Mozambican captain Pelembe and brought down. So right call by referee Joshua Bondo. Mwepu not allowing progression to be made there in terms of the attack from the Mozambican side.
Mozambique looking to start deep, and I mean, they have a number of passes on the ball. It's almost as if they're looking to just draw out this Zambian side.
Now another attack comes through with Celcio. Wide to Mandava. Cross will do well for the Mozambicans. It's brought inside, but the first time ball control not very good there. But positive play by Mozambique so far. And appreciation of that cross that came through from Mandava, but not well controlled by the Mozambican number 10, Celcio.
Well, Celcio and Mandava are looking to use the flanks, but more so Celcio on the right-hand side in terms of attack. So far, both teams showing some intent, and it's clear that draw that was played out yesterday by the two teams that are sitting at 1 and 2 in this group respectively has left the door ajar. So right now, it's anybody's game. The worst result that both these teams can have is a draw. Then they would have to leave to fight in the final game. But as it stands, a victory will have the team that picks up maximum points in a very safe position, because it will be about them picking up maximum points on the final day. And Mozambique, obviously, in March, will be taking on Guinea-Bissau, while Zambia will be taking on Namibia.
So much animation on the touchline. You can see Abel Javier prowling around like a lion in a cage. Zambia stand at the back with Kabaso, Chongo, big bang forward. And again, that's where I think the Zambians ought to start from the back, build from the back, and try to interchange passes, even as that foul was committed on Kambala. So Bondo, got an interesting story. Did quick playing football, getting frustrated. Wallace was playing for a local side in Celebi Pique in Botswana and decided to take up refereeing. Just not too happy with some of those decisions that had come through. Ubambo brought down Dove, but referee Bondo allowing play to go on. Now Mozambique start back pass. They're looking very comfortable here at the Estadio de Zumpeto Stadium. Wide. Managed to keep it in play with Zenedine Jr. Back at the heart of the defense with Dove. Pelembe, one touch from the Beats player. Banda now, Emmanuel slowing down things wide now to Augustine Mulenga, looking for options. Chungu Rollins does a bad job. The Butte Zambian left back.
Well, the antics from Xavi shows the pressure that is on his shoulders today. He keeps on really running around the touchline, and almost as if he's coaching frame by frame.
Found Kabaso Chongo by Wheaty. Again, Zambia showing too much of the ball. But again, that's where the mistake might probably come from either side, because in the quest to get an early goal, that is on both the Zambian and Mozambican perspective, they might just make a mistake, and that's might prove costly. And if you look at the numbers that have been pushed forward, especially in the case of Mozambique, they may just be caught on the counter. But now Banda Emmanuel for the Zambian side, the KV Ostende player, is whipped into the box by Sirin, but chance now for the Zambians, and he should go for a goal kick.
The touch was a bit heavy as it came in, but the idea was to throw Augustine into the box for him to receive the ball, to probably just outlay it to Shonga. That combination up front, Augustine just being pushed. It works ever so well for Orlando Pirates. They have an understanding. But for the Zambian side, again in transition, they're a bit too slow. They're pulling back the ball. But right now, it's really on a knife edge. Both teams in it to win it.
10 minutes played. Pendula with the goal kick out. Mozambique on the attack with Mandava. Now, pressure on the Zambian side. It's brought inside. Opportunity for them to shoot here. Pelembe! It was wide. Wow, what a lot of the Zambians survived there from the Mozambican onslaught. And it will always be a last Pelembe to be involved in the thick of things. So, the Zambians survive, and it all started with Mandava, who's been given so much space on the left wing. He's bringing in those crosses, getting the better of Kabaso Chongo. Second corner for the Mozambicans, and the local fans loving it. They feel a goal might be coming. Now, they take a short corner. Mandava again involved from Pelembe's cross. Zambia do a good job defensively with Simon Silwimba, but only chance because the pressure yet again, in terms of the danger, not completely cleared. Now, Chongo Kabaso. Sinkala. Not seeing so much of the TP Mazembe defensive midfielder, Sinkala. I think the Zambian midfield is being overrun by Mozambique.
Well, they need to change the shape a little bit and try to work to the strengths of the players. You were talking about the runs that Pelembe is making. A bit of a cell of a dummy in that box, and you'd almost anticipate all that was needed was a bit of a tap in there, but the pressure coming from when it just helping the Zambians not conceding the first goal.
Zenedine Jr. Shonga not being fed on crumbs, not seeing so much action. He's literally chasing for every ball. Pelembe drops down now. Mandava's already made the run on the left. Literally just going beyond the line, but Wambo feels that maybe it was a fair challenge, but Bondo thinks otherwise. And that's one match official thing that there was a foul on Pelembe.
Well, it wasn't a fair shove, so to say. Got him in the back more of shoulder to shoulder. The Botswana referee there just calls it the way it's supposed to be called. It's Pelembe, the clever boy, who's showing a lot of wittiness, so to say, doing his thing in the box, making the runs. He's always dangerous because he drops into the pocket and picks up the ball to supply to the flanks, particularly for Mandava and, of course, Celicio on the flanks. But it's just those runs that he makes that destabilizes the defense.
Throwing now for Mozambique as we're slowly marching towards the quarter of an hour here at the Estadio do Sumpero Stadium. And on account of what has been presented so far, the hungry of the two teams is actually Mozambique. Long throw, cleared out. Still Mozambique comes second time with Edmilson Dove. Corner it should be. So, more pressure on the Zambian side, and it is Edmilson Dove, the Cape Town City player, who got that one. Looks like there's a bit of a mini conference that is happening between Lubambo. He seems not to agree with the two decisions so far that have come through from referee Joshua Bondo. Now, Pelembe with the corner. Whipped inside the box, chance, and straight to goalkeeper Kennedy Mwene.
Vast experience from Mwene. He does come out, but I think he should be attacking those crosses more. Goalkeeper of his caliber.
So, looking for the run from Augustine Shonga. Out came the Zambian side, but there was good cover at the back with Edmilson Dove. One of the games I remember him, that game was live on the World of Champions. Man of the match in the MTN 8 final when Cape Town City beats SuperSport United. But for Shonga, currently sitting on 3 goals in Group K. He scored the equalizer against Namibia, scored against Guinea-Bissau, both home and away. Corner for the Zambians, Emmanuel Banda Jr. a corner for the Zambians. They've got about 4 players in the box. The tall ones in Sunzu interested. Remember, he did score Sunzu in the game against Guinea-Bissau. It was played on a Wednesday at the packed National Hero Stadium in Lusaka. So the Zambians not seeing so much, and their passing game, we're not seeing so much coordinated play in terms of the passing game from the Zambians. They seem to be losing out in terms of possession. But again, let's see this attack from Mozambique. Looking for spaces with Jornada. And second assistant judging a foul to have been committed by Augustin Mulenga. So out come the Mozambicans on the left with Dov. Mandava. He's given so much space. He's managing to flee himself from the Zambian defenders. Far left. And seeing so much of the action now in the box. And Pelembe could not control. Goal kick for the Zambians.
So they were trying with Celesio on the right, and now they're taking it to the left. It's Mandava who's being fed by Edmilson Dov, and of course Pelembe who's making those runs. It's always difficult to mark players who drop deep and make runs. Both teams, I must add, throwing caution to the wind, and they're really playing an open game, which for me tactically is it's a Russian roulette, because going into this match you need 3 points, so you need to be a bit cautious.
Now, talking about being cautious, too slow was Jornada, and so Zambia can benefit from that slowness by the Mozambicans. Too much, he overcooked the pass from Enoch Mwepu, but Augustin Mulenga does appreciate the intention in terms of the pass that was meant for Augustin Mulenga from Enoch Mwepu.
So the Zambians tactically changing the weight of attack very quickly from defense to attack. The midfield is releasing the balls faster than we've seen them in the past. And that will be a reminder to Mozambique, who the last time they played at this very stadium and they hosted Namibia, they played all the football, but Namibia beat them by 2-1. So goals win games. And this is why they're looking to make Mwene work.
Oh, but again, I'll tell you that if you're going to score goals, it's about also you making, retaining possession. And that's maybe the strategy by the Zambians is to catch the Mozambican side on the break, because they're leaving a lone striker and Shonga, who's literally chasing. You can see he's urging his other teammates to come in and closing the gaps, because Mozambique are benefiting and picking up every loose ball. Every time the Zambians have got the ball, they're looking for Shonga. And in the process, he's got about 2 or more players just around him, not giving him chance, and they're easily picking up those loose balls. Chongo Kabaso. Banda, Emmanuel. You see this Zambian movement, but again, lost out in terms of possession by Augustin Mulenga. Set piece situation for the Mozambicans. Yet again, it is Elas Pelembe, although Kabaso Chongo feels that maybe there was a dive.
He always puts in a man of the match performance, Elas Pelembe, just what the doctor orders, and Abel Jave will be super happy, because he's one of those lads who just gives you what you're asking for and even more. Very characteristic of a leader. Not only is he a captain, but he puts in a shift and a half.
Now, Pelembe taking all the responsibilities in terms of the set pieces that have come through. Shonga now. You see the desperation by the Zambians. Shonga not seeing so much action, dropping down. Good cover at the back by Zenedine Jr., the left back for the Mozambican side, to goalkeeper Pendula. Zambia do a good job,
Zambia just getting the pressure off the Mozambican side. I mean, they're not pressing too much. It was 2v3 in that instance, and Shonga playing so deep, so that only allowed Augustin. And obviously, the young man in Banda here looking to make the runs.
Well, he held on to the ball too much. Banda. Sinkala to do the chest. As we try just pushing off Celesio off the ball. The mistake there in terms of the breakdown for the Zambians all came with Emmanuel Banda holding on to possession. Abel Javier must be happy with what has been presented so far, although possession does not count for anything if goals don't come through. White now to Lubambo Msonda, the Armenia-based Zambian player. It's a run that has been made by Simon Sinim on the far right. A cross for the Zambians who do well, and good intervention, and well, did not look dangerous, but was headed for goal. The Neo Pendula, the Songo goalkeeper, just tipping it over the bar. So good reaction by the 37-year goal custodian for the Mambas.
Almost fortuitously just going into goal there. Pendula just makes sure he puts a big glove on it. And the pressure really mounting now. Zambia have got tall lads in the likes of Stopila and Sunzu. and of course Augustin Mlenga, who will look to make those runs and try to make Pendula work again.
Shonga with a set piece, the second one for the Zambians. It's brought inside, but again, there was no green shirt in front in terms of the Zambian players having a touch the ball. Belembe sells the dummy to Shonga, and Shonga buys it. Now, looking for the run up front from Joao. So just delaying the movement. The Zambians did not have so many numbers behind, having committed a lot of defenders up front. I wonder what Sven van der Broek might be thinking so far with the way the pressures come through.
Well, tactically, both teams really just off the mark. 20 minutes played, not so much in terms of making both goalkeepers work, but it's such an open game. And for me, banana skins all over the place. I mean, tactically, they need to create some sort of cohesion. And you see a path, so to say. Yes, Mozambique is using the flanks. They're looking to make the Zambian team work. But all in all, such an open game. It's dangerous.
Mandava. Back to Dove at Newson. Positive play by Mozambique. They're finding the spaces. I think one thing that the Zambians are not doing very well is to close in those gaps. No man marking. You can see that pass that was intended for Mandava. He's finding so much space, Mandava on the far left. And clearly the absence of the likes of Edson Sito has not been felt this afternoon by the Mozambican side. Lubambo Msonda. Chongo Kabaso, originated from Ponkola Mine Police. Difficult ball it was for the Mozambican left back in Aguero Jonase, better known as Manucho. Throwing, they take a shot on Zambia with Mwepu. Richard pass from Chungu. Misplaced passes we're seeing this afternoon from the Zambian side, but let's see maybe now with Mano Banda. So the Zambian midfield with three players in the midfield, two of them graduates from the under-20 in Mwepu and Banda. See so much, and again, that's what we're talking about. Each time they've got the ball, the Zambians, they're not holding on to it so much. According to my count, I've not seen them hold on to at least 7 passes or so. The breakdowns are too much. Well,
I think that midfield is just losing its bits. They're playing more attacking, and I understand why. Sven is looking to pick up maximum points. Not so partisan crowd here, but Zambians will be happy knowing full well that it's not filled to capacity. And of course, a chartered flight, a lot of fans coming through, just arriving this morning and singing Chipolo Polo to help the Zambians obviously just pick up maximum points. But Mozambique as well, just having a lot of people coming around from surrounding areas to ensure that they pick up maximum points.
Mwepu. Wide to Lawrence Chungu. We're not seeing so much of him overlapping this afternoon, Chungu. Big bang forward, looking for the run from Shonga. But the experience at the back from the Mozambican defense that looks very disciplined this afternoon. Quick start by Emmanuel Banda, Mwepu. Let's see what the Zambians will come through with this one now. A shot from outside, nothing to worry. Nanel Pendula. So the Zambian side being restricted to take the shots. Shooting from range was Nathan Sinkala. But for Sven van der Broek, who during his playing days was a defensive midfielder, played for some Belgian sides. Of course, this has been his first real job in Africa as the head coach. Kick out by Pendula. Mozambique are the first to arrive. Reaction from Kabaso Chongo. Giving chance. Shonga brought down. And referee Bondo up a bit of tough words for the number 3, Zenedine Jr. Didn't like the challenge that came through from Zenedine Jr. on Justin Shonga.
But the reaction once again, Matimba, Zenedine closes in Shonga because the support is not there, the outlets on the flanks. They're a bit too slow in the middle to just tend that weight of attack when they get the ball. And I think the flat-footedness of the midfield is why Mozambique is overrunning that midfield. They're a bit too slow to recover.
Set-piece situation for the Zambians. Last time Shonga scored from such a position for his side, Orlando Pirates. Zambians again being outnumbered. A shot, not a bad effort. Intention very good from the 22-year-old Justin Shonga. Speaking of which, Shonga is likely to line up this coming weekend when we have the Soweto Derby, but this time around in cup competition, Kaizer Chiefs are the opponents.
Well, it looks to hit it ever so sweetly. He does score from range, but in that instance, it was just pulling it a bit to the left. Shonga is definitely odds-on favorite to score this afternoon. He scored in his last 3 games consecutively. Make that 4 because he scored in the friendly against Gabon. He's a man on fire, but as a lone striker, I've always felt that he comes a bit short. He needs just a little bit of support.
Shonga back pass, good pass, but the move was not expected from his teammate in Augustine Mulenga. So throwing in the meantime for the Mozambicans with the Aguero Jonase. To the last 20 of the first half, scoreless between Mozambique and Zambia in a game in which a draw will not help either side. I reckon Namibia and Guinea will be pleased if it does end scoreless here, or at least a draw, because it would mean that their chances of qualifying to Cameroon next year would have somewhat brightened up.
Well, the sad news for both teams is that they don't really have an impressive record. Mozambique conceding 6 and scoring 4 in their last 4 games, with only 1 victory and 2 losses. Not forgetting that draw that they played, 2-2 draw against Guinea-Bissau.
Everybody's goal, but Banda Junior Emmanuel does a good job.
And on the Zambian side, obviously conceded 5, scored 4, 3 of which were scored by Shonga. 1 win, 2 draws, and of course 2 losses, I beg your pardon, and only 1 draw.
Shonga's hoping to change the play to the far right. Of course, Mozambique leading in terms of ball possession, 58%. Throwing by Chungu. Zambia's gained some acres of space after that foul by Zenedine Jr. on Augustine Mulenga.
They're playing a lot of man marking, and Zenedine keeps on picking up either Augustine or Shonga. Clearly, there's a game plan from Abel Jave. He's looking to just cut out supply to those 2 players. He knows what they can do to his defense.
Jongo. We've seen 1 in the box. As long as the Zambians do this, it will always be difficult. They're looking for Shonga, and I think he's been overworked there because he's obviously not one of the tallest players in this Zambian side. The tallest in terms of the Zambian setup being Stopiran Sunzu, who stands at 1.90 centimeters. So as long as they've got a player in Shonga up front at 1.79, surrounded by 2 or more defenders from the Mamba's side, then it's going to be difficult. Throwing for Mozambique, Edmilson Dove. Escape being followed Kimi back home in Zambia. So much expectations. The same can be said about here in Mozambique. The local TV stations also broadcasting this game now. Belembe wide now. Cavasso to do the chest. Throw in for the Zambians. Appreciation of that cross or pass from Celcio. The intention clearly was to have Celcio do the run, but too much for the player who plays his club football in Turkey. Good control by Shonga. Too much from Nathan Sinkala. Because he was expecting the run from Lubambo Msonda.
The Zambian tactics need to change. Most of the time they're playing 3v4, 3v5, you know. So it's a case of not too much support coming from the middle. And it's the way they've been set up. They're opening up the game too much. And you would want to think that the likes of Pelembe would be looking to make the runs. I mean, I like him a lot when he's making the runs into the box, because every time he delivers such balls, the likes of Celesio, as much as they can pick up, as well as, you know, Mandava, just becomes a little bit of mission impossible. I mean, I would like to see him play in the pocket just behind the strikers. He normally drops deeper, and sometimes it's his undoing.
Handball by Mandava. Disappointed with that decision that has come through, but the call has been made by the Mozambique, by the Botswana match official, Mr. Bondo.
Well, Mwepu just looking to get the ball over, but it was Mandava there just lifting his hand.
Emmanuel Banda for the Zambians in terms of the set piece, easily stopped by Pelembe. One-man human war and managing to stop that, what was supposed to be a cross into the box.
Well, it's 2 out of 2 now when it comes to the delivery being awful. It was Shonga and, of course, Banda in that instance.
Sinkale. Banda was now drifted from the left to the right. Lubambo Msonda. When Pujila's his run, he was seeming an offside position, but they get a throw in. The Zambians seem to be getting a bit of confidence with half an hour played here. Again, that's what we keep talking about. And especially for the Zambian perspective, it's been a difficult period in the last few years, because remember, they were champions in 2012, bombed out of the AFCON in 2013 in the first round, and so was the case in 2015. 2017 did not qualify, and if they don't qualify this time around, it will be back-to-back missing out in terms of the AFCON tournament, more so that it's an expanded one with 24 teams that will be hosted by Cameroon. Now, Pelembe, Mandava on the far left. No one is picking him up. Yet again, cross now comes through. That's where the problem is with the Zambian setup, because Mandava seemingly is enjoying his time, and that is putting more pressure on the likes of Kabaso Chongo, who have to do with and have to deal with the crosses that are coming through now. It moves some things in one. Missed by Chungu. And again, there was a bit of hesitation in terms of bringing the cross from Reginaldo Fight, throwing for the Zambians. So pressure on the Zambians. They do not seem to be very comfortable once those crosses keep coming in from the left. And we just saw a few moments ago when Lawrence Chungu missed and would have gifted what would have been an easy one for Mozambique. Thrown by Zambia. Cleared by Chungu. So it's a Mozambican throw. Although the second assistant thinks otherwise, that there was a high boot that came through from Celcio on Lawrence Chungu.
Oh, Chungu once again, if he's looking to play all inside, just messes it up there. An opportunity for Fighter to just take the shot. He scuffs it in that instance, and you know, so many unforced errors, but he does recover, Chungu, in that instance. But Zambia just
Mandava providing the cross, the pass, and Bondo will have to call Lubambo Msonda. Remember earlier on, there was that talk. So for the first booking this afternoon, and it's Lubambo Msonda who goes into the referee's book. Remember earlier on, there was a bit of a discussion that did come through. So, yellow card for Lubambo Msonda.
Well, in this instance, it was a little bit unfortunate. He just clipped the heels of the Maka in that instance. A bit difficult for the young man, but earlier on, it was a little bit malicious. But in this instance, when the run was made by Edmus Ndava, he just clipped him in the back. Really unintended. But the man from Botswana opens his naughty list, and I have a feeling Luambo will not be a lonesome name on that list. It will move to about 3 or 4 once the tension grows.
So, set-piece situation for the Mozambicans, and it is Elas Gaspar Pelembe yet again. Two-man human wall put-up. There's so much pulling happening in the box. Bondo has to control. Almost turning out to be like a WWE pay-per-view specials. Brought in, and goal kick for the Zambians. Wayne does not look too happy with the way his human wall was set up, but Pelembe with a set piece, not so much in terms of Mozambique benefiting.
Leaving much to be desired. It was Mandava who was failing to make contact with the ball. Both teams just failing to provide that deft pass that is needed. I mean, something that will come between the goalkeeper and the last defender and can cause anything. Well, it looks like a handball is being claimed, but it's a use of a knee in that instance.
Well, Bondo has to seriously take charge of what's happening on the field. It's interesting, but Abel Javier very animated on the other side, and then this is a debate that was there. So
was it a pass back? Well, either way, the man from Botswana judged it to have been played in the normal way. Zambians take the ball, and they'll be looking to just restart it. But I think they're running out of ideas when they get the ball, the Zambian outfit.
Sinkala. Wide to Simon Silwemba. Extension coming through from Mwepu. Got a knock on the back of his head. Receives the return pass, looking for options. Sinkala. Sunzu back to Kabasochongo. Sunzu. Looking for the run from Lubambo Msonda. The supply lines, I think tactically, the Mozambican side seems to have read the Zambian setup very well. So much that every time Zambia's got the ball, let's look at this one with Ronens Chungu. Wide, Augustine Mulenga. Again, possession lost by the Zambians. Belembe. Bondo allows play to go on. Belembe still holding on to the ball. It's the trickery from Belembe that the Mozambican side will be looking for. Truly leading the team as the captain. Mulenga, Banda. That's what we're talking about.
So many unforced errors. The number of times the ball is turned over when Zambia has it is a source of concern for Sven van der Broek and his technical team. Tactically, we're talking about how Zambia looks to not have anything in the kitty. They do not have a rabbit out of a hat so far because Abel Javi can read every move that they're going to put together.
Thrown by Ronens Chungu. Player who plays for local side in Zambia in Butekon Football Club. Cleared. He had already gone out at the time. It was being cleared by Manuel Kambala. So you can see maybe if I get the way Van der Broek is demonstrating, looks like he wants them to play, knock the ball around, distribute, pass the ball, as opposed to these long runs. Yes, they're good enough with the pace that Zambia can exploit for Lubambo Msonda. But coming up against Edmundson Dog, it will always be difficult. Speaking of which, Dog just recently paid an extension to his contract with Cape Town City now. Belembe! And good recovery by Kabasochongo. Composure. The TP Mazembe is showing. And it's certainly one that the Zambian side has been counting on in the last few games in terms of the qualification process. Banda Emmanuel loses out possession rather cheaply. He's holding on to the ball too much, and that's what is not making the Zambians make progression. You can see the frustration by Mwene. So if only Banda could hold on to the ball and quickly pass it on.
Well, as that shot is made, it bounces, and when if you're going to get the bidding of him, it has to be something better than that. But you were talking about Kabasochongo, a man reborn, really, putting in a shift and a half. He's one of the few players who's living up to expectation.
Talking about expectations, Mwepu, the pace of the ball, too much for the Red Bull Salzburg player to control it. A bit bumpy this side of the section of this Estadio Giuseppe Stadium. But for this man, Javier, of course, been in charge of this Mozambican side since 2016. Of course, the last time when he led this Mozambique side to a 1-0 victory over Zambia last year at the Levi Monasa Stadium. So much changes in terms of the technical bench for the Zambian side. Then it was Wetson Musindi Sinyerenda. Of course, there was also Dabic with an Agri Chiangi in the technical bench. But now it's the likes of Getpulis and Dal Salmon, who's the video analyst for the Zambian side, helping out with Chintu Kampamba, helping out Sven van der Broek. Strong header by Stopiran Sunzu. Out come the Zambians with Augustine Mulenga. Looking for the run from Shonga. Good work defensively done by the Mozambican side. 7 minutes to halftime.
Such is the pressure that Mozambique is putting on Zambia. Augustine playing ever so deep. A Banda who's been brought in to just be that umbilical cord between the midfield and the strikers, also playing deep.
Now, Mulenga, hoping to go through a maze of Mozambican players, but impeded by Jonase.
I don't know if you've noticed, Martin, but the movement with the Zambians, very laissez-faire. Every time a Zambian player has the ball, they're very slow to react. They need to run through the channels and just open up a little bit.
Cleared at the back. Zambia now spaces with Nathan Sinkala, wide to Lubambo Msonda. Today he hasn't really exploded in terms of the pacey runs and the darting runs that we do know him for.
And
Zambians are failing to string up passes, Muka.
And it didn't help that in the 32nd minute he picked up a yellow, so he'll be trading a very difficult line. But by far, the best player for their side by a distance, the Mozambican side, is Pelembe. He's been playing some exceptional football, just motivating his lads. Something that they need from Mwepu right now is some motivation, the Zambian outfit.
Oh, there's a push on Mwepu by strong Mano Kambala.
Well, that's what Mwepu will give you, that physicality. And he just needs somebody to run off him. Pick up the ball, he releases it quickly. And you were talking about the Zambians just failing to string up passes, and that's what Sven was talking about. Just exchange the interplay. And sometimes it gets frustrating for a coach, because in training, you sort of have a game plan and everybody knows what to do. But unfortunately, on match day, it's a whole different ballgame.
Banda loses out possession. A change in the midfield for the Zambians would do well, because they've been overrun by the Mozambican side.
And boy, do they have options if you talk about the Zambian outfit.
Lubambo now brings in one chance now. Shonga was in the right position, but again, the second ball is always easily been picked up by the Mozambican side. Chonga slowing down things. Banda again couldn't control. Turning out to be a very difficult afternoon for the young Emmanuel Banda, 21-year-old Zambian midfielder. Now, good pass outside the boot. Now Shonga. Reaction very good from Zenedine Jr. And so it will go out for a goal kick. You are talking about available options in terms of the midfielders on the Zambian subs bench.
Well, you've got Salulani, who can really nip it in the bud and just make it very difficult for them. There's been talk that maybe Bruce Msakanya should be used, but everybody will talk about the likes of Renford Kalava with his experience coming on. They need a level head there. You also have Cletus Chota Chama. The fact that he's on the bench means that if he plays even 45 minutes, he'll give you 150%, because he does have that brilliance to see a goal from nothing.
Shonga. Throwing. Was looking to where to pass the ball, because as a lone striker, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 Mozambican players right in front of him. So it's increasingly becoming frustrating for the Zambian attacker in Shonga. Lenga.
Well, he's got 2 for company on the bench. The young man Gampa Nilungu just moved from Zambia to the PSL, and also Patson Daka. Those 2 can come on and play as a second striker any given day. But again, it's the hunger from the Zambians. They started off with it in the first 5 to 10 minutes, but I've not seen a lot from there, because too many enforced errors, just failing to string up 5 consecutive passes. Matimba was mentioning earlier on that every time a Zambian player has the ball, the movement from the other players is not there, because they're not opening up and giving the players options, and we saw it with Shonga in that instance.
Well, but also what we've seen in the recent past in terms of the Zambian coaching perspective, substitutions sometimes coming in very late. We saw that in Windhoek, we saw that in the game against Guinea-Bissau as well. But maybe we've spoken too early with Mwepu. But as long as Zambia keep doing this, it will always be very difficult for Zambia to get a goal.
So Matimba, against the run of play in that instance, the boys overturned. It's 3v6. Where are the other players in the middle? Where are the players who can make the run and provide support? Mozambique right now should be looking to use the flanks like they were doing earlier on and try to nick a goal, because the last time Mozambique played like this and dominated a game, Namibia won by 2-1. So goals will change this game, but as it stands, if it ends like this, both teams have a clear chance of qualifying to Cameroon, because it will come down to the final day. What happens on the final day when Mozambique takes on Guinea-Bissau and Zambia takes on Namibia, if it stays like this?
Oh, it's the issue of mathematics and calculators. But again, just win your games and forget about all the other things that are happening in the other situations.
Well, I have a feeling that should it end like this, I can make some business here in Mozambique and in Zambia by selling scientific calculators.
So, set-piece situation for the Mozambican side. Literally been the dominant side in the first half, but for that ball that has proved elusive. This is what we're talking about. The Zambian midfield nowhere. Pelembe. Attack is on by Mozambique. And the crowd is loving it here. There's a high boot that came through from Kabaso Chongo on Manuel Kambala. Chongo must be very careful because he's also trading on very thin lines.
Well, he's very fortunate that the referee did not reprimand him in that instance. A bit too dangerous. Kambala just milking it for what it is as well. I mean, there was not so much of a touch. It was the fact that he did raise his boot, Kawaso Chongo. We're seeing more of Kawaso than Stofira, we must add. He's covering almost the whole backline.
So 1 minute of additional time we're playing here. In a game that has seen very few stoppages, except for one yellow card, and suddenly the team medics from either side having a restful day somewhat. Mandava, as usual, marked. Edmilson Dove, last move probably, 30 seconds of play into the last 30 in terms of the added 1 minute. Can the Zambians make it count? Mwepu, again, 2 against 4 will always be a problem. 2 players on him, and that's what's going to happen. See how many sheds in terms of red being at the back. And Zambia got a set piece situation after that foul by Mandava. So probably the last chance for the Zambians if they have to get something heading to the halftime break here. But that will not be taken as the referee Joshua Bondo blows the end of the first half here.
Oluwapo Msonda just gets pulled back by Mandava in that instance. Bondo should have probably allowed Zambia to take that shot because, I mean,
Ben Vanderbroek at the end just going through in terms of a discussion with the second official. So welcome back yet again here, and it's Mozambique now will be shooting from the right to the left. I'm your match commentator Matimba Nkonje Mukamba Mwenda Juniors alongside me. We can confirm more changes made on either side getting into the second stanza. So now Mozambique again with Aguero Jonasi, better known as Manucho. Interested to see what words came through from the 2 technical benches, even as Mandava takes a shot straight to goalkeeper Kenneth Mwene. Not a bad effort coming through from Mandava. Bright start for the Mozambican side, and the OS Belenenses player taking a shot at the Zambian goal.
Mandava, unfortunately, it just sort of scrapes the grass before then. It just bubbles before. Sometimes it can be difficult for a goalkeeper, but when it puts his full weight behind it. In the first stanza, in the first 45, they only managed 1 shot on target with 4 off. That was a total of 5 shots, and Zambia only managed 3 shots, but none on target. So it was a very cagey encounter that Mozambique just edged a little bit in terms of control. They pretty much dominated not only play but also looked more compact of the 2 sides. The Zambians in 6s and 7s in the middle. Question marks as to what tactical approach will come in the second stanza. Let's wait and see.
Mozambique, Dove. Looking for the run on the left, but it's Zambia who should be happy that it's a bright start for the Mozambican side. Thrown by Simon Silwemba, strong head at the back by Edmilson Dove. Zambian defense beaten, but quick recovery coming through at the back. Dove again, and challenge not so much coming through in terms of piling up pressures. He's winning those aerial challenges. Interchange is good now. Wide, decisive stoppage by Stopira and Sunzu. Cleared up front by Simon Silwemba. Mwepu now for the Zambians. Waiting to see where he's going to place the ball, but good tackle coming through from Edmilson Dove. So Mwepu trying to get some space and see where to place the ball. It's some same story that was presented. You can see maybe the instruction is that more numbers should be committed in terms of the attack. The pass was delayed by Mwepu because of not having so many numbers. He's throwing for the Zambians. And on the right, it's Simon Silwemba, the 26-year-old Zambian right back. Deep into the box, Shonga. Mozambique do a good job defensively. The danger not completely cleared. It's a difficult ball to clear from there. Banda now, Emmanuel. Again, in terms of the aerial presence, they're certainly dominating this Mamba side. Out they come, attack. But throwing taken out by Kawaso Chongo. So it's a throw-in for the Mozambican side. They take a quick one. They're not waiting for the right or left back to come through and take the throw-in. So sense of urgency being employed. 3 minutes into the second half. And they've got a set-piece situation in a decent position.
Augustin says he just stood and he came and clipped my stats, so to say. Look, sometimes Lady Luck will come smiling when you least expect. Pelembe just puts it into the stride. Madiva, as he makes that run. For the second time now, he gets clipped in the back. Earlier on, we saw a yellow being handed out to Rambom Sonda. Augustin feels a bit hard done by.
So Augustin remembers Bondo very well. Remember it was in Oyu when Nigeria beat Zambia by 1-0.
He disallowed the goal, huh?
Disallowed the goal, so yeah. Set-piece situation anyhow for the Mozambican side. Pressure on Zambia. The likes of Augustin Mulenga have dropped back. And it's Mandava lining up to get this one. Change in terms of responsibility, and Mwene at the near post leaving nothing to chance. So it's a corner for the Zambians, rather for the Mozambican side.
First experience of Mwene once again. You do not consider goal at the near post. Sweetly struck, I must add. But he does it again. You know, it sort of just hits the grass before it goes to the goalkeeper. Sometimes, fortuitously, it can lead into a goal, but right now, not getting the better of Mwene.
Witi with the corner for the Mozambican side. So much movement in the box. Zambians defend well. Now at least with Mulenga. Lubambo. Taken out by Enoch Mwepu.
The delivery by both sides really not impressive. Both teams just failing to put the ball in the box when it comes to a set play or even a corner. Explains why they are third and fourth respectively on the table, because when you have a chance and it's a dead ball position, at the very least, put it in the box and make a goalkeeper work or the defense. But not seeing a lot from both sides, but I must say, in that regard, Mozambique just edging Zambia a little bit. You know, need to give them a bit of credit. They're edging Zambia a little bit, but even then, they need to not show so much respect to this Zambian outfit and just attack.
Oh, but also remember, Muka, these two sides know each other very well. They are in the Council of Southern Africa Football Association's COSAFA, so it's a derby. Most importantly, they are neighbors. Mwepo, Chungu now. It's good control, but the offside call had already been made by first assistant.
A bit questionable, I think. The run was made slightly early, so just that movement there, Shonga not watching his line. But again, questions will be asked. You will not see the best out of Shonga if he's playing as a lone striker. He needs somebody slightly close by. And he's got two for company on the bench. You've got Gampani Lungu and, of course, Patson Daka, who can come in that middle. If you're looking to just strengthen that middle, there are options of more defense-minded players and more creative players. And also, on the Mozambican side, there's players who can come on. Zeka is on the bench as well as Nelson.
You're talking about the Mozambican available options. They've got a chance here. Back pass by Simon Silva. Well, you're talking about Gampani Lungu. Lately at Matanzanza, Supersport United, coach Kantano Tembo using him more in the defense setup. Because of some injuries up front, the likes of Tim Feman to be seen action for the Bafana Fire yesterday. Foul by Mwepu. And it's a chance for the Mozambican side to clear the lines after that push on Zenedine Jr.
Well, Mwepu just looking to get the better of Junior there. Junior knows full well he just needs to put himself between the attacker and the ball.
Some consultation happening there between Sven Vandenbroek and his assistant on the right, Chintu Kampamba. He's also an assistant coach at the local side in Zambia, Power Dynamos, the 2012 AFCON winning squad. Now, there's one man seriously that has been busy this afternoon on the touchline. Is the Mozambican coach. Now, attacked by Mozambique wide. They've got so much spaces that they are finding themselves in. It's a cross brought in, but Kabaso Chongo clears for the Zambians. Decisive header taken out by the 26-year-old Zambian number 14, Kabaso Chongo. Now, yet again, Zenedine takes a shot, blockades. Zambians slow to react to the situation, and this one will go for a throw-in.
They need to get some motivation from somewhere, this Zambian side. I'm not seeing the motivation. They're not running towards balls. I mean, Mozambique is really playing like a team against the wall. Abel Zabe knows full well, you know, that he needs to pick up maximum points. For the Zambian side, I just can't see the motivation.
That's actually a corner. as the local fans here are rooting for the home side. It's brought inside, Mwene collects. Out come the Zambians. Even as they want to come out quickly out of the blocks, they do not have a lot of numbers in terms of the support. Now they do get through in terms of this attack. Shonga brings it inside. Mwepu now, chance for the Zambians. Opportunity for Shonga to score, and it goes wide. So, good play by the Zambians. They came out of the blocks, and it all started with Kenneth Mwene from a corner.
Steady dip, Shonga pull back to Mwepu. Mwepu once again opens up fortuitously. Ball is left into the path of Shonga. It was, of course, Edmilson Jov who passed that ball to Shonga, but Shonga just scuffs his shot and pulls it.
Oh, a missed chance by the Zambia police inspector. Employed as a policeman in the Zambia police service, Shonga. Mwepu. Strong head again. They always win those situations. Now Bondo will have to look at the extent of that injury. And for the very first time, we're going to see the Zambian team medics being called on to attend to Enoch Mwepu. That header that came through, a clash of heads looked like from that position from Musika.
Ojao just goes in and really reminds Mwepu that it is a contact sport after all. It's more of the shoulder than the edge injury. Nothing some good or won't sort out. These two have got a hell of a problem on their hands. They've got a very rich bench, and of course their starting 11 really not coming through.
So the noise you're hearing is because of these three players that are warming up. Patson Daka, the number 9, is Claytus Chama, the player from Simba Sports Club. Of course, Patson Daka plays for Red Bull Salzburg, and of course former captain Renford Kalaba, who plays for GRC side Chukwisa Mazembe. So the foul was committed by Musika. Zambia down to 10 as Enoch Mwepu continues to receive treatment on the sidelines. The 20-year-old former Kafua Celtic player. Back to action, 10 minutes in the second now. Still scoreless here at the Estadio Nacional Zimpeto Stadium. Lubambo went down there.
An opportunity for Bondo to play advantage, but he didn't. And the center of things is the one and only Pelembe. Really, almost every time you see the ball, he's there. It's almost as if there's 3 of them on the field of play. He goes through and just puts a bit of a start there. In that instance, lead fighter.
At some point, I tend to think like that maybe these two sides rather have already resigned to the fact that they draw, and hoping, picking up on what you said, Luka, that maybe they want to fight on the last day and probably get the points. Lubambo brings in a cross. It does not come to fruition because it is the Mamba side that defend well. Mwepu, Banda, Shonga. Edwards.
Even Superman would have problems in that position. I mean, talk about kryptonite. There's 4 players around him, Shonga, and he needs some support. Lubambo should move slightly closer, and I don't quite understand what's going on with the Zambian outfit. They almost think that Lady Luck will just drop something sweet in their path. Likewise, Mozambique. But really, something's got to give. I expect tactical changes from this man here, Abel Javi, and of course this man, Sven van der Broek, because I'm not seeing anything from these two teams. I'm sure Kosafa region would love to see representation and probably a victor. Only 2 titles when it comes to the Africa Cup of Nations from this region. South Africa, 96, and Zambia in 2012.
So Emmanuel Banda with a set piece for the Zambians. All the time, every time it has been happening. Banda's crosses easily been picked out by the Mozambican side. Lubambo. No coordination by the Zambians.
Sorry, didn't quite hear the word.
Coordination.
Okay. I think it's something that should be whispered to a lot of the Zambian players at the moment.
Comfortably, they build up with Zenedine Jr. They're now growing in terms of confidence. This Mozambican side. Mandava.
do you know what this game needs? It needs a goal, and it will open up, because right now, you know, it's like...
Well, but if a goal had to come,
they're playing tag.
I'll tell you that the Mozambicans may just get one. Sorry to say this, because at least in terms of
they look the more positive of the two teams. I mean, you have to talk about how positive they've been. A second yellow is coming out. Looks like Lubambo Msonda will be joined.
So Celesio becomes the second player to be booked this afternoon.
Just left the starts there. Ooh. Lawrence just getting the starts. That must hurt. He had a very torrid start to the game. Chungu, a lot of runs from this man there. You know, he had a very difficult 10 to 15 minutes, but it's sort of settled now, and the Zambian defense doesn't look as pressured as they were in the earlier minutes in the first half. And it's almost as if Mozambique have resigned to they'll have an opportunity to shoot. Well, it looks like Cletus Chota Chama will be likely to come on, just change that midfield. There's also Renford Kalava, and we did see Patson Daka. He's fearless, the young man, and there's need for somebody who will go in and fight for goals.
So Chungu, the 26-year-old, playing his 11th match for the Chipolopolo, out injured and receiving treatment, needing a bit of patch-up. The Zambians are down to 10. They have to concentrate defensively. Seeing that they've got the numerical disadvantage. Mozambique on the attack now. Pelembe, Dominguez takes it wide to Zenedine Jr. Strong push that came through from Augustine Mulenga on Jonase. Quickly start Zambia's two-man less. Long ball, offside flag is down. Chance now, it comes to the weaker right. Cleared by Augustine Mulenga. Zambians have dropped even attacking players behind when the pressure's on. Pelembe couldn't spread that pass through. But again, it's all Mozambique. And for Zambia, it's just about booting the ball out of that area. Mozambique comes second time with the former Sundowns player in Pelembe. Good timing. And another strong tackle coming through from Kavaso Chongo. And the recipient being Celesio, player from Istanbulspor in Turkey. Kavaso must be very careful. I keep mentioning this.
Okaso a bit late. He will claim he got the ball first and the man later. Ball goes out for throw-in for Mozambique.
Well, even as we were talking about that situation, Mozambique almost scoring there with Reginaldo Faye.
Oh, quick ball into the box. He makes the run. He looks to make a touch. Flat-footed was winning in that instance. Just needed a bit of a touch to just change his trajectory.
You should have also seen the position of Simon Silimba. A bit of space between him and the Mozambican player now. Wepo. Mulenga. Augustine. Still no changes being made on either side. We'll tell you, despite all the lamentations that Moka has come up with. Here's by Mozambique. Chungu. Zambia back to 11. Chungu is back now. Now, this looks promising, although they don't have a lot of numbers, but they can still retain possession. Opportunity for Mozambique. Chance for them to get something here. And it's cleared, but only just desperate situation by the Zambians. Pelembe. Chance now for Mozambique, and it's a goal! Reginald Faye puts the Mambas in the lead here. The 28-year-old with his third in as many as 24 appearances for the Mambas, and the pressure by Mozambique has finally paid off. We did say if there's a team that will score, it will be the Mambas on account of the pressure.
Pelembe hits it. What a 10 combined with the touch. Sirimba is looking on. Kavaso Chongo can only take photos as he hits the grass. He misses the ball in that instance. The goalkeeper can't clear the lines. Much deserved goal from this Mamba side. Mozambique go ahead, and they're staring at 3 points and a possibility of Cameroon. Guinea-Bissau, come on.
So the Albanian best player in Reginald Fair putting Mozambique in the lead here. They certainly deserve it. They've been dominant. And that's what happens if you pile up pressure. The Zambian defense at 6s and 7s. And a goal that might just change the whole situation in terms of this Group K qualification. And so it is fair with the goal in the 63rd minute. It is Mozambique 1 and Zambia 0. So I was going to say that it's not a new story for Mozambique taking the leads at home, most importantly. How they're going to react in keeping up this lead or extending it is what I'm interested in, Muka. And also on the other side, Zambia have showed before against Namibia, for instance, in the qualification process. They've managed to come back. I'll be interested to see what changes at all, for instance, Van der Broek will make. But now, before I get to reaction, Sirimba brings in a cross. Too much of a quick pass. And again, the numbers not there in terms of the Zambian connection to be made.
When Lumambo is making the run, you can almost anticipate that he's going to put it in the box. But there's only one player to aim for. It's Shonga, the rifleman. But again, one bullet is not going to do it. They need more options, this Zambian outfit. I said the game needed a goal, and the goal has come. Tactics need to change. Let's see the football brains in the two tacticians. It's past an hour mark. 4 minutes past the hour mark. Let's see tactically what they'll do.
They've got the wind in the sails. Mozambique. Mandava brought down. Desperation by the Zambians in terms of now doing the clearance. Again, it was Kabaso Chonga. Certainly, he's the one who's looking out in terms of those attacks.
Oh, Kabaso gets the man and not even the ball. He's really treading a thin line. He's fortunate not to have been reprimanded by Bondo. But I have a feeling if he continues like that, he will see the color yellow sooner than red.
So Mandava, man of the match performance in my opinion so far from the Belenenses, 24-year-old Mozambican player. Set piece situation, Zenedine Jr. interested in taking this responsibility. Remember, huge expectations here in terms of Mozambique to win this match this afternoon. Shot takes a deflection. Again, Reginald Faye will fight to just be closer to the action there. The Zambians have been stung here.
Oh, shot towards goal from Junior, but unfortunately ricochets and Reginald fails to make contact. Sirimba clears the lines. Again, the shape from the Zambian side not there. Mozambique will rip them apart on the counter.
Speaking of which, now the attack is on by Mozambique. Cross comes for opportunity and a save by Mwane. Super save by the Zambian skipper. Second time the shot. Zambians under siege, but you wonder why the changes are not coming through. Anyhow, that's my opinion as a commentator. I will leave that to the technical team, but Zambia under pressure, and the change will do them very well, especially in the midfield.
Well, if the goalkeeper clears using his legs, then you know that he's definitely under pressure.
Oh, it will be very disappointing for the Zambian team, because if they lose today, then the pressure will certainly continue. 2 times would have missed out, and even as this change is being made. So the Simba Sports Club midfielder Claytus Chotachama coming in as the first change for the Zambian side, and also Renfort Kalaba. So Van der Broek now has to ring the changes. The pressure is on, so it's a double substitution. Desperation, pressure, if you. Kalaba in for Augustine Mulenga as the second change, and of course Claytus Chama.
Well, it was expected that the change would be made, but I think you did say, if I may borrow from your words, that, you know, every time that the coach is making changes, they're always belated. Zambia were not trailing. He had an opportunity to make those changes earlier. He didn't. Likewise, Abel Zave had an opportunity to make changes. He didn't. He stuck to his guns, and his team has scored.
Now, Chama, this is his first contribution, the Simba Sports player. Just now for Zambia, opportunity. A shot and wide. So as long as they keep trying like this with Enoch Mwepu, something may just give. But I reckon the 2 changes that Van der Broek has made in the midfield to bring in some lifeline in the Zambian attacking option.
Well, the one thing that Chama does is that he opens up space. They cannot predict what he's going to do. He pulls 4 players in that distance. Luambo Msonda is the only player in the box. And again, what do those changes mean? Both those players are attack-minded players. So the midfield has now changed in terms of what they're providing to the strikers. And it might be a bit of an imbalance, so he needs to quickly work on it. Not only should they look at scoring a goal that will equalize, but also just managing the shape of the team, because it's very easy for Mozambique to rip them apart with this shape.
Well, for now, the Zambians have to fight for at least an equalizer and get a point off Mozambique. Whether that will come, we'll wait and see. Kalaba. Mwepu. Silwimba. The Bulls come in here. Laid down, teed nicely for Mwepu. Should go for a corner for the Zambians.
Well, they've been poor in terms of the delivery of the corners, both sides. I think Zambia probably the worst of the two. I mean, every time you have a corner, it's a goal-scoring opportunity. Luambo Msonda makes that run. He makes Edmison work. It comes out for a corner. They need to deliver a ball in the box that will make the goalkeeper work. Well, Patson Daka is looking on and is saying, wow, how did that not become a corner?
It don't look like the full circumference of the ball had gone beyond the line. But anyhow, Mr. Bondo and team are in charge. Mozambique. Edmilson Do. Clever chip. Controlled nicely by Mandava. Mozambique come now with Musika. And should be a goal kick for Zambia. 20 minutes the Zambians have to have any realistic chance of making the trip to Cameroon, because anything less than a win or at least a draw here, it will be goodbye to 2019 AFCON for the Zambians, and it will be very disappointing to miss out back-to-back in terms of the Zambian team missing out. Remember, they missed out at the 2017 AFCON tournament, and oh boy, there'll be so much debate in Lusaka if that does happen, Ndola and other towns in Zambia.
It's not so much about missing out on the AFCON, I would reckon. I mean, the pundits who have you think that Mozambique is not a team that Zambia has lost to. I mean, it was a great achievement when they beat Zambia in Lusaka for the first time.
In Ndola,
yes. And then you got to talk about Guinea-Bissau. They've only made it to one other AFCON, so they're not minnows in football, but Zambia is a powerhouse. They're the only side other than South Africa to win the AFCON on the southern side. So
I don't know what you mean by powerhouse, because since 2012, they've been nosediving. 2013, first round, 2015, first round, 2017 did not qualify, and now they may not qualify for 2019.
Well, one would argue that 74 they made it to a final, 94 they made it to a final, and then they won as well. So in terms of records over the teams in the group, Zambia is by far a team that has a richer history. But again, football is not played on paper and what you did in the past. So right now, to be honest, another reminder that the beautiful game is about who wants it the most and who delivers on the day.
Okay, back to action. Sunzu for Zambia. Throwing. Desperation slowly creeping in the Zambian side. And a very disappointing evening for the Zambian side. And for this man especially, Sven van der Broek, whose mandate was or is to qualify this team to the Cameroon Cup of Nations. Mwene. Long throw.
Well, he's got 18 minutes to ensure that his team pulls one back. If they don't, he should be walking through the rectangular object on the wall, referred to as a door, because his mandate was to qualify Zambia to the next phase. But if they don't, questions will be asked. Likewise, Savi.
Chama. Chance now for the Zambians. Kalaba brings it inside. Opportunity, and it's missed. Luambo Msonda just ballooing the ball there, but what creative play from the master, Kalaba.
Kalaba gets the ball, little 1-2. Luambo Msonda just leans back a tidbit. He opened up his body very well, but there were so many players in red and black in front of him. But Zambia just a bit hungrier now with those runs being made by Mupa. That's the master in the box. And this is exactly what you expect to see from the 2012 champions.
Now, another chance. When it comes out, good reaction. Positional sense by the Zambian captain. Chungu. Lawrence. Chama now. The introduction of Chama and Kalaba certainly livened up things in terms of the Zambian attack. Although, in my opinion, I think the changes have come rather a bit late.
Oh, it's not over until it's over.
Belembe. Certainly not Kawaso Chongo. Now Zambia building up slowly like a diesel engine, hoping to heat up and get something going. So a change is going to be made by Mozambique.
Well, I will tell you that the Zambian shape is not really compact, and as much as Cletus Chotachama and Renford Kalaba have come in and they're providing some changes, it's highly questionable how they line up. I think Mozambique can rip them apart because that middle is definitely open.
So the first change for Mozambique coming up. Celcio exits, and his place being taken by Stilio Marcelino as the first change this afternoon. So Marcelino just coming through to pacify things. Even as we talk about that, the attack is owned by Mozambique. One not enough, obviously. Belembe whips in one in the box, and the Zambians take it out for a corner. Pressure continues. Silwimban team have to work extra time, extra shift. They have to dig deep to defend and at the same time think about getting the equalizer. 16 minutes to go.
Well, Simon just putting in a touch there because that ball, if it went past him, was definitely going to fall onto the goal scorer. He's on a brace. He's looking to score a second one here. Mozambique have the tails up, and Zambia really, as much as they're looking more potent in terms of their striking ability, I think the shape is not there. Mozambique can rip them apart.
Corner taken. Cleared, but only just. Zambians can come out with this attack. Shonga laying it out for Lubambom Sonda. Dove just taking it out. Like I said earlier on, he actually signed a 4-year contract effective August with Cape Town City that will see him at Cape Town City until 2022. Mwepu. Chance now. There's one unmarked player at the far left. Mwepu surely holding on to the ball too much when the easiest of things was just to simply take it back. Back pass, and Chongo Kabaso does a good job. It's increasingly becoming difficult for the Zambians to get an equalizer here. Maybe now with Mwepu. To Kalaba. Looking for space. Good dummy by Kalaba. Brings in one. And again, the numbers in terms of the support for the Zambians, not too good. Lubambom Sonda. Chama calling for the ball. It's brought inside the box. And again, Mozambique do a good job defensively. This is what Zambia should have been doing in the first stanza. Chungu takes a shot and goal kick.
Well, the positivity from Kalaba and Triple C, Cletus Chota Chama, really coming through. And they needed a leader, this Zambian outfit. Belembe was doing it for the Mozambique outfit, but Zambia didn't have a leader, so to say. As much as the debate will always be there, would you rather prefer a captain who's an infield player or a goalkeeper? Because they were lacking leadership in that middle, they were lacking leadership in the team. Kalaba's come in, as much as he's not the captain, you can see he's telling them they need to do one or two things, and maturity is coming into play as well.
So a win for Mozambique, if it ends this way, will take them to 7 points. Zambia remains stuck on 4. The maximum they can get is 7. And already with Guinea-Bissau and Namibia on 8, that will eventually mean that Zambia will be out and will not be part of the 24 expanded tournament in Cameroon. Thrown by Lawrence Chungu. Chongo Kabaso. Under pressure from Studios has come in. Zambia now, Sinkala, Mwepu, Chama, Cletus Chota. Looking to see where he could get a shot and go wide to Simon Silwimba. Lubambo Msonda. The mistake Mozambique also are making is that they're sitting back and trying to defend the slender 1-0 lead, and that might prove disastrous, especially that they were punished in the last game in a similar fashion, where they sat back and allowed the opponents to come at them.
Our best form of defense is attack. Mozambique need to open up because they're really lining themselves up for failure.
Speaking of which, failure! Chance now for Zambia, and a decisive blockade. Disappointing and disappointed is Mwepu there. Another glorious opportunity in terms of wanting to get something, but there was that intervention that came through. Sunzu goes down. There was a push on Sunzu by the newly introduced Stelino Chongo. The next 10 minutes will be interesting.
It's do or die, it's make or break. They need to pick up at the very least the goal.
Played by Kalaba. Now, Zambia with a chance here, and Lubambo Msonda. What was that?
Well, he's definitely put himself on the list of the next player to be substituted.
Oh, speaking of which, Zambia still have a chance to make yet another change. If you look at the subs bench, they still have Bruce Msakanya, Gampanilongo, and even Patson Daka if they have to look for an offensive or an attacking player and continue with the pressure that they've been finding. So it's like we're going to have a booking here from referee Bondo, and right one by the Botswana match official. So Pendula becomes the latest player to be booked by Bondo. The 37-year-old UD Songo goalkeeper into the referee's book, trying to buy a few seconds out. 10 minutes in the face of victory or at least a draw or a win for Mozambique and Zambia in this case. Silwimba looking for the run from Shonga, who's been overworked. Desperate clearance by the number 18, Musika. Zambians will do well to show a bit of sense of urgency. Brought in by Silwimba. Chance now, Sinkala. And again, Mwepu, too slow to release the ball. Kabaso back to Mwene. The Zambians have pushed everyone up front. They must be very careful because any break or any breakdown may result in Zambia being punished for the second. Controlled by Sinkala. Silwimba on the right. Sinkala receives the return pass. Lubambo. Maybe this time around to put in a more organized throw in for Zambia.
They're overworking the ball, the Zambian outfit. I think they need to keep it easy. Too much of an overload on the right flank as well. I think Silwimba and Lubambo Msonda not delivering the balls that are expected in that box.
Lumpo comes in unchallenged. Pendula by a few seconds after receiving that cross from Simon Silwimba. The curtain slowly closing down on the Chipolopolo's dream of qualifying to the AFCON 2019, to be played in June, July. Chama, Mwepu, Chungu. Again, not challenging for those aerial balls. Quick start by the Zambians. Mwepu, good play by Zambia. Chama, Cletus. Throw in Zambia. They're slowly inching closer again and probably getting an equalizer, the Zambian side. But whether Mozambique will allow them is another story.
Oh, they're keeping it, they've left it really late. It's going to be close. Anything can happen. Against the round of play, Mozambique can score one or Zambia can equalize. But either way, it's going to be a photo finish. And I expect villains to be made today as well as heroes.
Sinkala. So the last game for Zambia, should they not win today, will just be a formality match. Has been stopped. Zambia making their third and final change. It is Patson Papadaka the Red Bull Salzburg player, coming in for Lubambo Msonda. Mozambique are also making their second change. They're bringing Amade Mamade. So trying to stop down the Zambian attack one way tactically in terms of game management that this Mozambican side is doing. So Mandava, one of the match performers in my opinion, exits.
Oh, he exits. There have been so many players who've put in a shift and a half, the likes of Mandava. But for me also, as much as he was flat in the second stanza, I think, you know, Elias Gaspar Pelembe just put in a decent shift. The Zambians have all but 8 minutes plus added time to really change the narrative. It's a slow death here. They're really staring into the light as it speds off, because anything less than a result here that will give them either a point or 3 will mean they won't make it to Cameroon 2019.
Now, it will be very sad for the Zambian perspective with that history you gave of 1974, 1994 and 2012 making it in the finals. So Sunzu also getting through in terms of the attack. And for this man, Sven Vandenbroek, there's a bit of altercation almost coming through. Bondo has to control tempers here. Pelembe and team, the same can be said about the Zambian setup, have to really take it easy.
Oh, it's Mwepu who chested, I beg your pardon, Sunzu chested the ball. And the man who came in, just Amanda. He, of course, just forces a bit of a foul. And the frustrations will come in. Mozambique will look to just get the life out of the game, just frustrate the Zambians. Hopefully now something better can be put in the box, because the master is on the ball. He would definitely put a deaf ball in the box. What the Zambians do with it is up to them.
So Kalaba with a set piece for the Zambians. Sunzu, one of the players in the box, is brought inside. They don't defend very well. Second time a shot, and easily picked by goalkeeper Pendula. Not a bad effort to try from the Zambian left back, Rollins Chungu.
Oh, he scored a few goals from range. Kalaba does put it in the box, but nothing to just trouble that defense. Again, you would expect that the team was working on set plays and working on what they would do if they have a free kick or have a corner kick. They're just really trying things out based on experience, which is a bit baffling for me.
Oh, but that's what happens again. Individual brilliance has to come to the fore if tactically what you've lined up doesn't work. Attacked by Pelembe, and his former teammate at Sundowns, Mwene collects. There's a good ball out from Zenedine Jr., the 30-year-old CS Maritimo player. 4 minutes, Zambia down. A long trip for the many supporters that have made the trip from Zambia. Should it end this way? Throwing quickly taken by Kaba Sochongo. High boot from Amade. He hasn't come out to so much physical play. Right call by Bondo to issue out this yellow card to Amade. It's the second time we're seeing him committing the fouls, and a high boot that came through. So he becomes the latest player to go onto the notorious list of yellow cards that Bondo is issuing out.
Oh, he's been put on the field of play to just disrupt it. He's not going to allow the Zambian space in the middle. I reckon Zambia has 3 chances at the very most, 2 probably, and they need to make one of them count. And Mozambique will have 1 on a counter-attack. Any which way, this might end 1 apiece, or maybe 2-0. If it doesn't end the way it's going to end, Zambia has, on my account, 2 chances, 2 good chances they need to make work. Maybe 3. Mozambique will have a counter. And depending on how they handle that, it might end 2-0, it might end 1-1, or just 1-0.
It become a fortune teller now. Back pass by Zambia. Well, pushed almost everyone up. Mwene as the last man in line of defense. Will the hearts of the Mambas supporters be broken this afternoon? Or it is the Zambian fans that will be disappointed? Attack is on now. Mozambique bringing one, and Again, the experience of Mwene. Just keeping out that one. The Zambians survive. For how long they'll do that, we'll wait and see. Kalaba. Break attack is on just now for the Zambians. And Kalaba, that move was not read out very well.
This is one apiece so far against the run of play counter-attack. Runs into the box, but just fails to pass the ball to Pelembe, his teammate. It was Simon Sudimba who's putting in a shift and a half, who just ensured that it didn't go against Zambia in its entirety.
It looks like Abel Xavier might just be posting a double over this Zambian side, even as the stretch has been caught on to get Manuel Kambala, the UD Songo player, to receive some treatment. But it's this man's goal that is separating these two sides.
Well, it was a shot that came through from Pelembe, and of course, scuffle in the middle there. Just a failure to clear the lines did cover Sochongo in that instance, and the ball hardly struck ever so sweetly.
And the whole nation celebrates here in Mozambique. The goal by Reginald Faye, the KF Pepanini Kukesi in Albania. That's where he plays his professional football. I hope I got it right. One of those sides that campaigning the Albanian league. So Mozambique slowly getting closer to qualifying to the African Cup of Nations, I beg your pardon. But for this man, 38-year-old Sven Vanderbroek, the Captains look like they're slowly closing down on making that dream to see the Chipolo Polo qualifying to the AFCON tournament. So 90 minutes we've played here, and we're now into additional time. The Zambians have got 3 minutes if they have to keep their dream alive of going to the Cup of Nations. The same can be said about Mozambique. Cletus Cham. Sinkala to Sunzu now was overlapped.
Wouldn't you want your ball with your most creative players at the moment, you know, put it in for either Cletus Chotachama or Renford Kalaba, because they will create something.
That's what I see this movement. Brought in by Mwepu. Chance now for the Zambians. Goalkeepers come out and collects. So one of the three slowly coming to an end here. And it was Patson Papa Daka who went for that challenge. It will be disappointing for the likes of Patson Daka not to go to the Cup of Nations next year, as he's currently the award winner of the best young player in Africa as a result of his exploits for the Zambia under-20s at the World Cup under-20, and of course with the under-20 African Youth Championship that Zambia hosted. Oh, there are all those predictions that were made that regarding this afternoon's match, whether this will result in a Mozambique win or a Zambia loss. But at the rate things are moving, looks like the Mambas will hold on to this slender lead.
Well, there is a gentleman from Malawi who predicted that Zambia would not beat Guinea-Bissau in the last game, and apparently he also predicted that Zambia would not beat Mozambique. So I reckon next time he predicts on a Zambia game, people will pay attention if the result stays like this.
So 2 minutes already up here. We're into the final seconds of this match, and the Zambian team down by 1-0. So unless otherwise, looks like it's going to be a Mozambique win this afternoon here at the Estadio Nacional do Zimpeto Stadium in Maputo.
Miracles do happen, but you need a bit of faith, and in this instance, Zambia is lacking on time for that faith. It will take the most ironic, the most ridiculous passage of play for Mozambique to concede now.
Now, play has been stopped because the goal scorer has gone down, and the Mozambican bench upstanding looks like they're waiting to celebrate this win this afternoon. So the 3 minutes are already up here, Muka, and maybe by time to get a report card about the overall performance of the Zambian team and Mozambique so far in terms of the qualification to Cameroon.
Well, tactically, I think both teams had it wrong, but Mozambique stood their guns and they managed to nick a goal and just changed it into a defensive format and frustrating Zambia. On the Zambian side, again, belated changes. Really going wrong in terms of the middle, not the personnel, but the tactics. I think the inclusion of the likes of, Emmanuel Banda was not a bad one, but the mere fact that he didn't utilize him to his best, his best attributes just baffles me. Tactically, the Zambians just got it wrong.
So Bondo should be blowing the end of the match anytime from now. But Dover's got the throw in. He's looked at his watch. Maybe the last attack by the Zambians with Chama. Daka, wide. Floated into the box. Mozambique do a good job with Zenedine Jr. So the final whistle has come through. And Zambia will not be going to Cameroon next year. So it is